Let's be honest for a second. Some BL series are not surviving because of the plot, they're surviving because of the spice. And before anyone gets defensive, I'm not against NC scenes, I enjoy them too. But when a series completely forgets the storyline and expects chemistry alone to carry everything, we need to talk about it. Today, I'm discussing some Thai BL series that were bold, steamy, and unforgettable for certain reasons. But when it comes to actual storytelling, that's where things start falling apart. If you love spice but still need a solid plot to stay invested, this video is for you. So without wasting much time, let's get started. First on my list, For Him the Series. I actually watched this series all the way to the end, and honestly, I couldn't make sense of anything. It was confusing in a way that made me think there had to be more to the story, but there really wasn't. The series doesn't have a solid plot. It loses its charm very quickly, and despite all of that, it's still hard to ignore because the chemistry between the actors is very captivating. That chemistry is honestly the main reason I kept watching. But the more I pushed through, the more boring and repetitive it became. The constant reuse of previous scenes was especially annoying and didn't add anything new to the story. The story follows a relationship that starts with a one-night stand, but one person doesn't want it to end there. He slowly entangles himself deeper into the other's life, and eventually, the narrator gives in. That's basically it. I wouldn't recommend this series unless you enjoy being confused without getting real answers. That said, it is very spicy, and the number of NC scenes alone is enough to keep some viewers watching till the end. Number 2. Sundiny the Series. This one actually pains me to talk about because I'm a fan of the main couple. But being a fan doesn't stop me from ranting about how frustrating this series turned out to be. The body swap plot on its own is already a lot to work with, and I kept waiting to see where it would actually go. What really confused me was how the series completely lost its pacing. With a plot centered around a dysfunctional sexual relationship, I genuinely thought the story would focus on their struggles as a couple and how they navigate that together. Instead, it turned into a weird, messy storyline that I honestly couldn't bring myself to finish. The management team for Max and Net really needs to do better, because what was the reason for doing this to such a love ship? The series does have a lot of intense scenes, and you'll probably see them arguing a lot, mostly because of their bedroom issues, but even that starts to feel repetitive rather than meaningful. The story follows Sun and Nuya, whose relationship starts to fall apart after a small misunderstanding that grows into a major emotional gap. Then one day, they wake up in each other's bodies. What seems like a curse at first is supposed to become a lesson for both of them. But aside from the weak execution of the body swap idea, the overall plot is boring and poorly handled. Because of that, I honestly wouldn't recommend this series. Number 3. Playboyy the Series. I don't think I've ever watched something as unhinged and unapologetic as Playboyy the Series. The only thing I can compare it to is Only Friends, but at least Only Friends had a reasonable plot. In terms of pure chaos though, they're on the same level. Personally, I don't think this series is for everyone, especially if you're emotionally sensitive. From the first episode to the last, it's messy, chaotic, and overwhelming. Yes, it's bold and it bears everything, but it's also incredibly annoying. The plot, if we can even call it that, will have you screaming at the characters out of frustration. It's basically chaos for chaos' sake, a non-stop pileup of NC scenes with very little breathing room, and honestly, it can give you a headache. Not the fun kind. The story starts when Zoe's best friend, Nant, goes missing. His twin brother, Nant, begins investigating, and Zoe teams up with First to help uncover the truth. As they dig deeper, they're pulled into the dark side of the sex industry, illegal pornography, drug trafficking, secret sex work, and revenge-driven relationships. Along the way, Zoe, who fears sex, gets seduced by a nude model, while First risks becoming addicted to sex after meeting an ex-sex worker. The big question is whether they'll find Nant, or if this journey will just expose uncomfortable truths about themselves. Honestly, I don't recommend this series unless you're looking for something boring, confusing, and low-key traumatizing. Number 4. Kasiki Chapter 2. This one is one of my biggest disappointments in Thai BL, because, what exactly was this? The entire story is basically about two brothers who travel, meet two friends, crash at their place, and then spend most of the time hooking up. That's it. No confusion, no mystery, no real story. Just unhinged characters with zero self-control or self-worth, and a lot of NC scenes. It's not even trying to pretend there's a deeper plot. The whole point seems to be showing hot men doing the deed. The story is set in autumn in Tokyo, where P, a longtime resident, takes his best friend Playboyy on a sightseeing trip. They unexpectedly meet twins Pan and Playboyy, and the four of them spend time together in the city, supposedly making precious memories. I honestly don't even know if this should be called a series. I wouldn't really recommend it either. But if we're being honest, the NC scenes are kind of amazing. Number 5. My Stubborn. To the fans of the main leads, don't roast me too much because I know you will. You all know the truth. Most of us are watching this series for the teacher and student teaching each other adult lessons. And aside from that, I'll admit the actors have insane chemistry. But let's be honest for a second. Where is the plot? For me, the story is extremely cringe-worthy and kind of annoying. Think this series has one of the highest numbers of NC scenes I've ever seen in a Thai BL, and because of that, it completely loses its pacing. That's a conversation some fans are just not ready to have. At this point, it feels like you're about to learn lessons you probably don't even need. The story follows Jun, a mischievous intern who enjoys pushing people's buttons, and Sorn, a calm and orderly man who absolutely cannot stand people like Jun. From day one, Jun's non-stop pranks, like sneaking salt into toothpaste and hiding personal items, make Sorn despise him, but fate has a sense of humor. When Jun unexpectedly runs into Sorn in a very awkward situation, what starts as discomfort slowly turns into a complicated connection. The man who once insisted, "I don't like kids," finds himself feeling emotions he never expected. As conflict turns into closeness, the line between irritation and attraction slowly blurs. Still, chemistry aside, the plot just isn't strong enough to carry the series. Number 6. Peach Lover. Someone recommended this series to me on my channel, and I'm still watching it, but I can already tell it's heavily over-sexualized for no real reason. Yes, there is a hint of a plot, but the execution is poor and the pacing is all over the place. Fans who are currently watching know exactly what I'm talking about. The series is intense. The story centers on the long-awaited return of Peach Lover, the owner of a hugely popular 18-plus sensual account, after disappearing for a year. His comeback causes excitement everywhere, especially for Poe, a devoted fan who has been hopelessly in love with him for years. This time, Peach Lover announces he's searching for a brand new Peach, someone fresh and exciting to feature on camera. Poe doesn't hesitate and applies immediately, finally getting the chance to meet the person he's admired for so long. Despite countless rehearsals behind the scenes, the two never actually step onto the real stage together. Instead, getting to know each other off camera brings them closer than either expected. The question is whether this relationship will ever become real, or if they're destined to stay co-workers forever. I won't fully recommend or not recommend this one yet since it's still airing, but at this point, the story just doesn't make much sense to me. Number 7. Season of Love in Shimon. For this one, I honestly don't have much to say. If you're interested in Shimon, Japan, or you're simply here for steamy NC scenes with attractive men, then this series might work for you. It's very soft, very feel-good, and at least there's no toxic behavior. The acting is okay, nothing special, but also nothing terrible. That said, when it comes to the story, there's barely anything there. The series follows P and Pan, whose feelings begin to change after a trip to Tokyo. Time passes, questions remain unanswered, and they both move on with their lives while quietly searching for meaning and growth. P keeps his promise to become a better person and, a year later, moves to Shimon Prefecture, where he builds a career as a travel blogger. Pan, meanwhile, chases his dream of becoming a singer and slowly gains recognition and a growing fan base. Even though P continues moving forward, he never truly lets go of Pan. He waits, hoping that one day their story will restart. That winter, Pan finally returns to Japan, but not alone. He arrives with his manager and a younger artist who happens to be his on-screen partner, creating an awkward and unnecessary dynamic. The series tries to ask whether this reunion will turn into a true season of love. But for me, it never lands. The emotions feel shallow, the conflicts don't matter, and the story doesn't really go anywhere. Honestly, this one just doesn't make sense to me, and I can't recommend it. Again, this is just my opinion. If you loved any of these series, that's completely fine. We all watch BL for different reasons, but for me, chemistry can't fully replace storytelling. Now I want to hear from you. Which BL series do you think relied too much on spice and forgot about the plot? And is there one you think I judged too harshly? Let's talk in the comments. The discussion is always the best part. If you enjoy honest BL breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one.